100 that we saw him play so proficiently last game, and then RDD this time going off lane with the Centaur Warrunner.
Yeah, and as we predicted, there's a slightly aggressive tri-lane here from Minnesota. On the Slardar, Greenhorn, we've got Needle playing that Witch Doctor for the second game. Over here on the Ogre Magi, Jabroni on the Drought pick, Kurobo, and in mid, we've got Dirty Bird.
So Greenhorn this time going to be taking his hero into this aggressive dual lane top. Not going to be going mid lane. And now Dirty Bird going to be taking that mid Wind Ranger. So a lot of people have been saying recently, you know, Wind Ranger is the new garbage tier pick of this patch. But she has seen a lot of success as a support. Will that transition into a pretty good mid lane by this Wind Ranger?
No, I don't believe so. I think she's going to be struggling a lot against the Lone Druid for the same reasons that the Zeus struggled a lot in the last game. You don't have a lot of damage in the early levels, so you basically have to spam Power Shot or be very careful with your last hits. And the Bear is going to be able to deny you quite a bit. And Doom is actually early rotation to this top lane. But spotted out by a range creep. Bad luck there.
He has crit strike, but he doesn't have any sort of CC, so I'm not sure what they want to accomplish with this rotation. Benj doesn't even have level 2 for Magic Missile yet, so. And funny enough, Kenji Lawrence taking that level 1 telekinesis. Oh, I mean, actually, that's normal. Just kidding.
Yeah, perfectly normal. Although I would have liked to see the Venge take stun level 1. They would have gotten a kill there, even with the Vengeance or a bonus damage.
That would have been a dead needle indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see again the Lone Druid having a great time in the mid lane. A bit of a struggle from the Wind Ranger, but that's to be expected. She's going to need some agility items up before she's going to be able to last it efficiently. Trading in the top lane. This actually... Rubik is dead here.
Very dead. KN Jam. Trying to look for the finish off onto Needle. Frisia going to be diving in deep, but that's still just a level 1 score. Actually, that right click might have been able to do it. Greenhorn off the mark with a crush, and there's going to be a smoke right next to Heroes. Needle trying to TP out. He is going to be able to TP out.
Nice TP. The shame about the smoke, but a very nice TP. Rubik is going to be chasing down the Slardar, but I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to kill him, particularly with the Scorched Earth down and the Vengeful Spirit in the position she's in. So let's take a second and talk about this Drow Ranger down here. She's actually leading in terms of last hits, and I find that kind of strange. I would think that you would want to pressure this Drow if you had the opportunity. But at the same time, RDD, he's getting levels. He's almost level 4. He's got a little bit in the way of CS. He's got 9 CS at 3 minutes, which is about all you can hope for in an off lane. I would have liked to see them aggro try to push this tower down. It's something you can do very easily with a Drow. Get a lot of pulls and stack for your Wind Ranger so she can catch up with Power Shot. But things are going, I would say, fairly well. They did manage to get that first blood on the Rubik and only just barely missed losing their Witch Doctor.
I'm not sure what Frisia has been doing recently. I mean, he did go into that top lane and kind of put down a little bit of damage and a couple right clicks onto Needle, but besides that, he just ate his Alpha Wolf for the crit. Hasn't really been doing much besides that. He's just kind of walking between mid and top. It looks like they're going to try and get aggressive onto Greenhorn, but Kenji Lawrence is a little too slow to pick him up. But I feel like Frisia's losing out on levels here. I think he could... I guess maybe you can't jungle that well with just boots. He did go that rush boots build Jabroni.
What is he doing? He dove way too deep. If he gets an unlucky... Oh, the creep block. The creep block is enough to get him out of there. He got very lucky there, and he might actually still get caught.
Close. Kenji Lawrence does rotate in. He's looking for the lift, but he's just too far. There might be a lucky route here if he's looking for it, but he's going to be able to get that shrine off. Now turning back onto Kenji Lawrence. Able to get a couple right clicks in. There's going to be a lift backwards. And there's the route they've been looking for. He is dropping to a half HP now. It's actually really close. Jabroni is going to actually drop. He stayed for a little too long. There is going to be rotations, however, by Needle. The cask is there, but unluckily bouncing between Untouchables and Frisia. Now they're looking back to transition onto Needle. 2 right clicks from Untouchables is going to be enough to finish him off.
Yeah, I would say that that was a pretty significant mistake from the Ogre. You pop the shrine, it's time to go. You need to leave, you're going to survive. Don't try to turn around on that. You're not going to be able to fight them when they're in that position. They've got the Doom there, they've got the Rubik there, they've got the Lone Druid, and a little bit of aggression on top. Vengeful Spirit picking up treads.
I believe this is a pretty easy lane for Venge now. I mean, she has the damage to just bully Greenhorn out of the lane. She's kind of low on mana, but actually with the rotation from Needle, it's going to be harder on her. But so yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of mana in order to, hold down Greenhorn, but she does have the poke potential.
Yeah, absolutely. She's in a position where they need to have two people up in this lane, or she can just click on the Slardar all day. If he tries to come after her, she can just tread swap and stun him, although her mana is a little bit low right now. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful about that if you're KN Jam. So smart to play safely. And I would like to commend this Observer Ward placement. I'm not sure who put it there, but this Observer Ward has been the saving grace of this top lane. There have been, I would say, 4 ganks that have been just completely ruined by that single ward.
Ooh.
It really paid for itself. And they're going to get a kill out of it, too.
Easy kill onto Kenji Lawrence. That ward once again spotting out the easy rotations. And I feel like they in order for Slardar to stay in this lane, Needle actually needs to refresh that ward. He needs to go back and place another one because Greenhorn easily would have died at least 3 to 4 times in the laning phase alone. And he's going to do just that. He realizes the importance of that ward, and he's going to refresh. And now they're going to go for the stun on the KN Jam. However, the lift is going to be there as well to stop that. Greenhorn dropping to about half. And now the Stampede coming in. Needle dropping low, and a couple right that's going to be able to finish him off. Frisia is already low.
Unlucky bounces on that cask. I think they would have been able to kill KN Jam if he had been hit by the second bounce on that cask, but you know how RNG goes when you're playing Witch Doctor. Just went in a complete wrong direction, and they're going to miss out on that kill, and they're going to lose the Witch Doctor in the process.
Dirty Bird kind of struggling in this mid lane. I mean, he's sitting at 23 last hits at 7 minutes, so pretty low altogether, especially with the Lone Druid already at 30. But
it's not terrible. You know, he hasn't died, so he'll be somewhat satisfied, and he's getting this free farm. At the same time, the Lone Druid, he's doing whatever he wants, but he is still actually behind the Drow. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do, because the Drow has hit 6. Are they going to group up and push down towers like you would have in 6.88? And Centaur may be dead here. He's being chased down with the arrows, but nope, can't orb walk him.
It's close, able. But Jabroni didn't have any mana.
Yeah, he was...
Rotation on the mid. Needle going in deep. There's going to be the cask onto Untouchable. It's a pretty good cask, actually, but he is going to miss on the Maledict with Lone Druid running at 443 movement speed without phase active. It's just way too hard to try and catch this guy.
Right, and they're so tanky. Where are they going to find this damage at this point in the game? They do have the aura up from the Drow Ranger, but it's not enough. You need 3 or 4 people in order to kill the bear. You need to be the same number of people in order to kill the Doom, because he's just such a tanky hero, particularly with the Scorched Earth, which he is maxing right now. What do? It's so hard to kill any of these heroes, and they do so much damage too with the Vengeful Aura.
It's pretty crazy that Frisia's able to actually somewhat keep up in levels. He has basically a support to normal levels despite...
Fight on top. Needle almost dying. He was swapped in. He's going to manage to get out just barely, but the Slardar trading his life for it. I think probably should have just let the Witch Doctor die. They might actually dive under the tower here. Nope, they don't.
3D. One right click by Dirty Bird is going to be able to finish him off. Frisia still looking for more. Jabroni out of mana, unable to save his Drill Ranger. And yeah, top lane. Slardar was dropping there. Needle pretty low on health himself.
And yeah, Needle only just barely got out of that one. They stacked their stuns a little bit, which was his saving grace. And Slardar made a valiant sacrifice and died in order to protect their support. I think they should have just let the Witch Doctor die. You need that Blink Dagger on the Slardar more than you need anything on the Witch Doctor.
One thing I've noticed recently from these teams is the severe lack of smoke gank. I really feel like with a Slardar at level 6, a Ogre Magi, and Wind Ranger with Shackle Shot available, it should be potential kills if they were to just smoke and gank. Even if they wanted to go on the Venge, it's possible to rotate, but even last game, I don't think there was any smoke ganks.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single smoke gank at all. It's been kind of a very straightforward pair of games. I don't think that Indiana University had to smoke gank in the last game because they were so far ahead. But I would like to see Minnesota get some of those smoke ganks in action, see what they can do with it.
3 heroes in onto the top lane, but I mean, they saw them TP in, and with no smoke there, Kenji Lawrence is gonna be able to back off in time.
Right. The Rubik,
Untouchable.
he's doing fairly well. He's got his boots, he's got his tome, he's going to be level 6 from this. That's when the Rubik fun begins. Lots of great spells to steal. You got Cask, you got Maledict, you got his ult. You can even steal Precision Aura, I think.
Is it possible to? Oh,
actually, no, it's not. You can't do that anymore. They changed that a long time ago.
That would be insane if he could. But an easy bot lane taken by Indiana. KN Jam with that double damage. Already dealing 200 plus damage.
Yeah, Minnesota looking to tower trade, but that's probably fine by Indiana University. They're just going to swap and take a tier 2. And they also have that fortify. So in a good position, trading effectively, but this is what Minnesota needs to do. Guys, get the last hit on the tower.
The Stampede in onto Kenji Lawrence, and actually he's able to get the solo kill on Dro, the ward from the high ground, able to spot a very low Dro Ranger being greedy for those last hits, which he does need. And now they're trying to get aggressive onto Jabroni. They're looking for a root here, and it's not going to come as only 2 hits from the bear coming through. The bear is actually completely diving tower. There's going to be the pin by Dirty Bird. Bear is able to back up though.
Again, I'm asking the same question I asked during the draft. What does the Drow Ranger provide for you that is, what are you going to do against this lineup? They're going to do that same thing every single time. Centaur is going to press R. Oh god, he's going to die again.
He's definitely dead. Frisia rotating in. He does have Cloak Aura, but it's not going to do enough. Only silence onto 1 hero, and Kribo should die here. There is going to be the hook by Dirty Bird off the mark. Looking for Kribo kills, and he's actually able to live as there's no Stampede available. But yeah, like you were saying, I feel like that Dro pick almost felt like an obligatory pick. Like, okay, we want to pick Wind Ranger, but we know Wind Ranger sucks. So to make her somewhat viable, we have to pick a Dro Ranger. It didn't feel like usually when you pick a Dro pick, it's usually a Dro draft. Like, you know, the whole draft revolves around taking advantage of that pushing power and that range advantage.
Yeah, you don't want to have 2 melee when you have a Drow in your lineup. You want to have 4 or 5 ranged heroes, and they don't have that. So they're losing out on a lot of utility there, and they picked a hero that's so soft and so squishy that they're just going to initiate on her anyway. So you're losing the benefit of the aura throughout the game.
Top lane, KN Jam is safe enough to push by himself, and now RDD going in deep. There's going to be a silence on the 3 heroes. Now the stomp onto 2. Slardar already dropping low. There's going to be the root. The lift by Kenji Lawrence going to be able to secure the kill. Jabroni already dropping pretty low himself. He's going to drop as well as Needle, and that's going to be easy kills. I mean, look at the health bars on the side of Indiana. Only Frisia took any significant amount of damage. He's going to be fine now. Easy mid tower.
Yeah, Frisia was tanking the tower the whole time, too. A little bit of a Benny Hill activity with Frisia chasing the Witch Doctor around in circles, around the trees. But does eventually manage to get him. And there goes the tier 1. So Blink Deck, first item up on the Windrunner. What do you think of that? Do you think it's going to be beneficial?
I don't think so. I mean, especially since this isn't a support Wind Ranger, and it's only level 1 Shackle Shot. That's the only reason. Oh my goodness, Frisia. They are going to commit the Death Ward for it. The silence is going to miss onto Kenji Lawrence. Greenhorn going in deep here. RDD able to land the stun perfectly. Now with the lift as well, Shackle Shot's going to land onto RDD. Oh my goodness. There's going to be a root onto Ogre, and the stolen Death Ward actually turns back around onto the Ogre. Karibo's going to drop next. And just completely outplayed here by Indiana.
Yeah, Kenji he got every single spell he needed to get. He stole the empty image from the Slardar. They just blew him up. The Fate Bolt just crushed him. And then he manages to get the stun from the Witch Doctor, or the ult from the Witch Doctor, which he shouldn't have. Oh, he doesn't have Voodoo Restoration. Oh my.
He doesn't have a single level in it?
No, not a single one.
There's going to be the hook onto KN Jam, but there's no way they can capitalize on it. I mean, Greenhorn has just been suffering as far as last hits, but kind of going back to what we were talking about on the Wind Ranger, this isn't a support Wind Ranger, and it's a level 1 Shackle Shot. So what exactly does Blink Dagger provide? It's not good enough initiation. You need damage on your mid hero. and
It
they just
doesn't
don't have it.
solve the problem that your team is going to have, and your team already has, which is you can't kill any of their heroes. They do so much more damage than you do, even with the amp damage and with the Drow aura. You're not doing enough to take these fights. They're just blowing you up. They're getting into your team and crushing you. You don't have the control that you need. You don't have the damage that you need, and you're just going to lose every single one of these fights.
So, unfortunately, another one-sided game, and Greenhorn
Oh,
completes
no.
his TP. I mean, Centaur did use the Stampede early, so it's not like it was a surprise stun, but Greenhorn just goes for it, and he
You
pays.
know, that was probably an accident. I've done that many times where I
That could
TP in
be.
and I panic press S and nothing happens, and I beat.
That's rough. Needle going to be committing the Death Ward onto RDD with that Death Pact. It will be able to do some damage over time, but now the swap onto Karibo is perfect. The silence is not going to be enough. RDD still has so much health. The Doom onto Needle. Now there's going to be a Fear as well. Greenhorn forced to run away, but the damage is there as well. Witch Doctor has to back all the way up. There's going to be a pretty good hook onto Gem, but like we were saying, it's only level 1, and they don't have any damage on Dirty Bird. RDD is sitting at tier 4 towers, and it doesn't matter. With that Vanguard, he takes little to no damage. Now Needle trying to look for more, gonna land a pretty good Death Pact, but they don't have any damage to follow up on it. Now RDD going back in onto Jabroni, the stun is there. The lift as well, gonna be able to finish him off quickly. Dirty Bird now running away from just the bear. One more right click might be able to finish him off. However, he's able to get the wind run off Karibo, looking for more. RDD will probably drop here with the amp damage there, but they grab one hero in exchange for their entire lane of racks. Now Greenhorn looking for the stun onto Untouchable. He does land it. Untouchable might actually die here. One more right click will be able to finish him off. The arrow is off the mark. Now they're committing the wind run, so he is going to drop Kenji Lawrence with the stolen crush, able to stop Dirty Bird. Greenhorn does not have Blink Dagger. He does have the sprints up available now. The blink in by Dirty Bird will be able to finish off Kenji Lawrence, so that's something. 4 heroes in exchange for 1 and their tower can jam, TPing in to try and defend this mid lane. They do have the Corrosive Haze onto him, but actually it's possible mid lane stays alive. They do have the Centaur back up and Doom up in 3. Jabroni going in really, really deep. There's going to be the hook as well onto K and Jam. The stun only going to land on Jabroni. Jabroni's probably going to die, though. So much damage out of K and Jam. The Stampede is there as well as the silence from Karibo. And with they're actually going to commit the Death Ward just for K and Jam. And it's going to be enough. A killing spree for Dirty Bird, actually, which is surprising. He's 3-0-1. He hasn't died once.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well.
Oh, but with the Blink Dagger by RDD. Ugh, the root as well onto Needle, gonna be able to finish him off. Karibo is gonna die here. Next up, body blocks from Centaur. Kenji Lawrence looked for the silence and found it.
I would like to commend K and Jam for his positioning in that fight. When they dove on him, he went into the woods. He went right next to the Centaur, and he baited them in underneath so that the Centaur could get that double stun and pick up the kill on Jabroni and set up the rest of that team fight. So smart movement from him, and I think it really sets him apart from the rest of this game. It's been going a little clowny, a little one-sided.
Yeah, by this time it is pretty much just Indiana almost toying with Minnesota, and it looks like this time they're actually going to be going for buildings this time instead of last game. But there's going to be a Blink Dagger now into Greenhorn with the silence there, able to stop Slardar in his tracks. A perfectly timed stun by RDD, going to be going in for the combo there, and oh my goodness, he's going to just blow up to Untouchable. Jabroni is next. He's gone. Dirty Bird trying to deal as much damage as he can. There's going to be the Cask as well, doing pretty good damage. Frisia dropping low, but RDD lands a 2-man stun onto Needle and Karibo. Needle's going to drop to the... I don't even remember what that ability is called. Fade Bolt. Karibo already sitting pretty low. There's going to be the buyback by Needle. The Root is going to be there as well. Looking for the Death Ward. He is going to find it. Not dealing a whole lot of damage. RDD going to stop that in his tracks. Can Jam swapping them back, I'm trying to say. The Fear is going to be there as well and just shutting down all the buybacks they're trying to get out. Untouchable and Kenji Lawrence are sitting pretty low, but it doesn't matter. Now they're just diving and toying with them.
Rampage for the ranged Lone Druid. I remember when that was a meme build with the Basher. That was, what, like 6.6 something?
I don't even remember. This is happening now. Untouchable, just pretty much untouchable on this Lone Druid. They are going to find the stun onto Greenhorn. going to be able to finish him off quickly. There's going to be a pretty good multicast from Jabroni, but with the bear, they can actually finish him? Nah, they're going to let him live. They don't want to go too far. Needle is going to find the cask, and they're going to bounce in between both heroes. However, Maledict only lands on the Spirit Bear. There's going to be a swap by onto Needle. Untouchable there to finish off. And RTD, again, RTD is a god on initiators. This man just understands exactly the perfect time and the perfect way to initiate with these heroes.
He's been spectacular in both of these games. I would consider him the MVP of this series. You know, a little bit of flashy play from Untouchable, being a lone druid, managing to escape up, but RDD has really just been the one setting it all up. So excellent play from Indiana University, and a GG is called. So that's a quick 2-0, a little bit one-sided, but well played from both teams, and glad to have them in AVG.
Yeah, Indiana taking this game 2-0, and both games looking pretty one-sided. Last game took a little longer, mostly because of the dies that they were doing, but this game just completely dominated. And we called it from the draft that this Drow Ranger pick was not the correct pick, and Wind Ranger just suffers mid lane against actually strong and meta mid heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. The first three heroes that Minnesota picked, I think, are excellent. They set up a strong game plan. You want to play aggressively. You want to be team fighting a lot. You want to just be kind of running at them. And then they pick two heroes that really don't fit into that game plan at all. Maybe you want to do a 5-man push lineup before any of their heroes get online. But Indiana University, they say, well, okay, you can run at us all you want, but we're just going to be the tankiest heroes possible. And it paid off because there really was no choice for what Minnesota had. And you see how the game went. It was just an absolute stomp. So well played to Indiana University, and an excellent try from Minnesota. And I hope they learn a lesson from this game, try to make a more cohesive draft, and just don't pick Windrunner.
Just don't do it. You can pick it support. It's a pretty good support right now, but do not pick it as a core.
Yeah, not a great core.
And even with a Drow, she just doesn't do enough. So that's going to be it for our first series of the day. I believe we actually do have a couple more games to go along with today. Indiana securing their position as a strong team to fight against in this draft. Also, for anyone tuning in on the Twitch, if you weren't here earlier, remember to, at the beginning of every game, bet on who you think is going to win. You could earn college credits, and this season, we actually have rewards. So the longer you tune into AVGL, the more you bet on games, the more credits you earn, and you could get lots of cool prizes. Last season, we saw liquid coolers for PCs be given away. We saw